In 2020, we are faced with the advancement of the extreme right, conservatism, authoritarian capitalism, and xenophobia. This is a time of resistance and internationalism. We resist to live, we march to transform is the motto that takes us once again to the streets in the 5th international action of the World March of Women. Let's denounce the attacks of capital against life and affirm our alternatives. But why are we marching? The international actions of the march take place every 5 years. They begin on March 8th, International Day of Women's Struggle, and run until October 17th, the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty. In 2020, our calendars are full of decentralized and common actions like March 30th, Palestinian Land Day in support of the struggle for the self-determination of the people, and April 24th, Day of Feminist Solidarity against transnational corporations. From May 25th to May 31st, we join forces with social movements from all over the world to stand against imperialism. And on October 17th, we will meet at the closing of this 5th quinquennial action. At the border between Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, we will reaffirm that we are on the march to build a society free from borders. How did this story begin? In the year 2000, people all over the world stood up against neoliberalism. The World March of Women was launched as an action of grassroots groups from different countries and territories with a platform to fight against the causes of poverty and sexist violence, and to demand concrete changes in the world and in women's lives. In 163 countries, the march has taken thousands of women to the streets, connected by the same cause. After the action ended, the women decided that they would continue together in movement. And so the World March of Women, which began with a campaign, became a permanent feminist and anti-capitalist movement. We march against poverty and violence, but we march in favor of what? In 2005, march groups around the world wrote the Women's Charter for Humanity. In this letter, we present our vision. We want to build a world based on peace, freedom, justice, solidarity, and equality. A large quilt has been made collectively by the hands of women from each country and territory where we are organized. Crossing borders, including between peoples in conflict, the quilt has been woven, practicing feminist international solidarity and showing the strength of women in movement. In 2010, the march launched the motto that echoes through the streets to this day. We will keep marching until all of us are free. We held great marches around the world. We went through protests in front of a military base in Colombia and ended in an international action with 2,000 women in Bukavu, Democratic Republic of Congo. We denounce the wars waged by racist and patriarchal capitalism. We demand an end to violence. We also demand women's autonomy, public services, and common goods.
Na luta pelo feminismo! Ninguém se cansa! Feminismo quando? Já! Quando? Já! Quando? Já!
The strategy of the 4th action was to strengthen the resistance of women in their territories. We understand our territories as our body, our work, and our place of action. The regional actions of the march denounced the advance of capital over our territories. In 2020, we call on women around the world for our 5th international action. We resist to live because the racist and patriarchal extreme right destroys our lives with war, violence, hunger, and repression. We resist to live because transnational corporations exploit our work, destroy our living conditions and nature, and violate rights, and are the beneficiaries of this authoritarian capitalism. We march to transform the structures of production, reproduction, and consumption. We fight for an end to alienated work and exploitation so that production is at the service of the people's needs instead of profit. We offer real proposals and alternatives to build the world in which we want to live, in harmony with nature. We fight for food sovereignty. We want food without poison. We want indigenous and creole seeds and transgenic-free territories. We fight for a feminist economy in which the sustainability of life is at the center of our concerns, in which domestic and care work is recognized and redistributed amongst the people regardless of gender. We struggle for the right to health, education, and housing. We fight for a life free from violence, for a society without walls or borders, for autonomy over our bodies and our sexualities. We reaffirm feminism as a project of society, anti-capitalist and popular, against the new and old forms of racist and patriarchal colonialism. Our action is collective, our organization is permanent, our horizon is a society based on equity, freedom, justice, solidarity, and peace. We take to the streets because we resist to live, we march to transform. Let us do this together.